Happy Families podcast. It's the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now.
Strict parenting for us is around responsibilities and it's around correction. Can you just chill? If you had a problem, you can go to your room for a while, okay?
We'd like to raise our children to respect authority.
We've chose to parent in the strict parenting model because a little bit like a railway train. When the railway train's on the tracks, it's actually working the best way that it's made to work.
Well, Parental Guidance is no longer on the telly, but there's still plenty to unpack from it. G'day, this is Dr. Justin Coulson, the co-host and parenting expert on the Channel 9 TV show Parental Guidance. I'm here with Kylie, my wife, mum to our 6 kids. And Kylie, we've just had so much fun over the last few days talking with the parents from Parental Guidance about their experience. Who have we got today?
We have got Andrew and Miriam joining us today, and I can't wait to have a conversation with them.
About strict parenting or just parenting generally?
Just parenting in general and their experience from the show and what they learnt.
Andrew Miriam, thanks so much for joining us on the Happy Families podcast.
No worries, great to be here.
What did you hope to gain from being on the show?
We went on the show with a real desire to be part of a national conversation about parenting. We know the importance of parenting. Sadly, kids don't come with a guidebook, do they? So we know how important it is, and we knew the importance of having a national conversation. We thought we had things to learn, but also things to contribute to that conversation.
Yeah, we're really excited to be part of something that was going to put conversations about parenting into every household across the country, and just the tremendous learnings that we hoped would come out of that as people picked up new things, thought about why they parent the way they parent. Those conversations are so useful, and often they're not the normal conversations you have at a barbecue, but so important to have.
Holding a mirror up to your own parenting on national TV would have to be one of the most courageous things I can think any parent could do. And you guys you've come out of the show with your heads held high, and your kids just are such a real credit to you. They were just beautiful. We got to see so many different experiences. That one with Timothy on the wall, oh my goodness, you had my heart right there. What a courageous and brave little boy you're raising.
Yeah, it's definitely a very challenging, vulnerable thing to see that mirror in front of yourself as you're parenting. But we are just so proud of our 3 children and the way that they have, participated in the show, gone with the ups and downs, no matter what's been happening, their willingness to try and do their best. They've been amazing.
Yeah.
I've had a few experiences where my kids, because our kids are older than yours, we've got these 6 kids aged from sort of early 20s, mid-20s down to 7. And I've had these experiences where the kids they'll pull out their mobile phone, they'll be recording what's happening around the dinner table or what's happening in the kitchen. Like literally nothing's going on, but they're recording because they're kids and they're always recording stuff, right? Just in case something happens. And maybe I'm not aware of that. And so I'll walk into the kitchen and I'll say something. And then 30 seconds later, I hear it being played back on their phone because they've recorded it. And I hear my tone and I'm always surprised. I don't realize what my tone is. Sometimes I don't come across quite as nicely as I think I'm coming across. Did you find as you were watching yourself on the TV, you were like, do I really sound like that? Did I really say that? Is that how we actually interacted with the kids there? Did you find that mirror, that replaying of your activities confronting at any time?
Yeah, certainly. And it certainly makes you think and gives you a new insight to yourself. And that's not always pretty.
No.
But one of the great things from it was an incredible opportunity to learn. And, we're the lucky ones because we have that experience. And I think we're better parents coming out of the show for it. So, what an opportunity that's been for us.
I mean, the thing about parenting is it's a constant journey. You never reach an all-knowing point. And even if you did, then your children grow and change and then you're back to not knowing it all again.
Yeah.
It's a constant process of learning and changing as the children grow. And
it's so true. And one thing that we value as a family is humility. Not that we always get it right, but that idea of if you can take a humble approach, you're able to learn and not feel like you've got it all together or have all the answers. And as soon as you move into an arrogant space in parenting, I think you've moved into the wrong space because you're always growing, you're always learning, and it helps keep you in the right frame of mind.
And children are good for helping to keep you humble.
Yeah, they are. That's right. They love it.
Well, after the break, we're going to find out how parental guidance has affected Andrew and Miriam's parenting, who their biggest teachers were on the show, and how the show has strengthened their family. It's the Happy Families podcast with Justin and Kylie.
It's the Happy Families Podcast.
For a happier family, try a Happy Families membership, because a happy family doesn't just happen. Details at happyfamilies.com.au.
It's the Happy Families Podcast, the podcast for the time-poor parent who just wants answers now. And today we're talking with superstars Andrew and Miriam from Parental Guidance.
I can't believe we're talking with real people on the real TV. It's amazing.
How did the kids feel about themselves being on TV? I mean, now that it's aired and they've actually watched back on those experiences and relived them through a totally different lens, how are they feeling about it?
They're probably a mixture. They're really excited to have seen themselves on TV, and we've been watching together as a family, and we've been inviting some of the kids' friends' families to come and watch with us on different nights, and that's been a really exciting way to view it. They've definitely had some parts leading up to the airing of certain pieces that they were quite apprehensive about, but we've had some really good help about how they could then have conversations about those parts with their friends afterwards, and so that help really has enabled them to move through those things without any significant issues, really.
Yeah, that's nice. That's great.
How has it affected your parenting overall?
I think overall it's helped me to see in certain areas where I need to loosen the reins a bit and do things a bit differently. Particularly for Timothy, our youngest, I feel that potentially I haven't given him as much freedom as the older children have had. And I've a few times thought to myself, I need to just give him more freedom, give him a bit more room to explore, to be independent. And so it's been a bit of a stretch for me sometimes, but I've been doing that, allowing him to get out and do some things on his own that previously he hadn't had those opportunities to do.
And for me, I have really benefited from the idea that having a parenting gearbox and acknowledging that I think every style has a role to play in the family if they're used in the right way at the right time. And so thinking about what is the best parenting style that I need right now for my child that is appropriate in our family, it's appropriate for their age. And so giving myself freedom not to be constrained by one style, and maybe we have a more of a strict flavour, but that doesn't mean we can't benefit from the other styles at times. Helping kids connect with nature, which we do anyway, but just even doing more of that sometimes, at times moving into a free range gear where you're giving the child freedom to choose and to set their own limits is really helpful. At times, I think particularly with toddlers, it's right to be a helicopter parent for their own safety, to being right there. So as I've thought about it, it's helped enrich my own parenting and not just narrowly see myself as a strict parent, but actually benefit from a whole range of parenting styles, which we can pick and choose from as we need to.
I love how thoughtful you are about this. Let me ask one quick question. When you think about all the different styles that you participate...
That was my question.
Oh, come on, really? Were you going to say the same thing?
I was just thinking as Andrew was talking, just this acknowledgement that there's no absolutes. We don't have to be stuck in the sense that I am this person or I am this parent.
Yeah, so
and
for
my
the purpose of
child
the TV
is
show,
this.
it makes sense that we've got different parenting styles, but we all adapt to context.
And I love that acknowledgement that we can have a bit of everything in our toolkit and it comes out at appropriate times.
Yeah, so that wasn't exactly what I was going to ask.
I know you weren't. I'm just prefacing so you can now ask the question.
All right, okay. Well, the question was going to be, if there was one family, and I know you could probably say something wonderful about all 10 of the parenting styles that we saw, but if there was one parenting style or one couple who really influenced you and impacted the way that you're now engaging with the children, that you hadn't previously been engaging with them in that way, which couple or which family, which parenting style was the one that was potentially most influential for you in the evolution of your parenting thinking to date?
What he really wants to know, guys, is who was your favourite?
Right.
I think they're different answers to those two questions.
Yeah, there we go. See, they're different questions. Yeah.
I can't even answer yours specifically, Justin. The thing I would say is that the attachment style of parenting is something that I'd never heard of before. So It was a completely new way of parenting that I had no knowledge of before.
Right.
So I have found myself thinking at times, if I was parenting in that style, like what would I do in this situation? So that has been influential to me because I'm sort of thinking, what would you do if you were parenting from this kind of position? So it's given me opportunities to think about things from a different perspective. The other parenting styles, probably more the free range, which I would say that to some extent we already had elements of that in the way we parent.
Yeah.
But particularly with Timothy, I've found more opportunities to just go, he needs a bit more free range.
Yeah.
And he's had some opportunities to get out and ride his bike on his own, which we hadn't done with him previously.
Yeah.
So I'd say those two styles have brought some helpful elements into the way we're parenting now.
Yeah, I'd probably agree. I think the attachment parents, again, it was some ideas I hadn't heard before. And there's some really helpful ideas there around connecting with the child and, addressing engaging with the emotion and not feeling like you need to try and fix the emotion, but just engaging with it. And that's a really helpful idea. And particularly ideas of, not, this wasn't particularly unique to the attachment style, but just the idea of, you don't parent well if you flip your lid. If you're not in control of yourself, it's not a good place to be bringing any type of correction or instruction. And so in those sort of sense, the free range parents, they showed a tremendous capacity not to get worked up or upset about things, but just to keep a really level keel. And that's a great thing to do. And I think all parents, if they're really honest, sometimes parenting does get to them, and just to be able to take a chill pill, to regather themselves and to parent from a good place is a really positive message, and something we already known, but something we've been reminded of.
Kylie, did you notice that Andrew and Miriam did not say that they took the idea of homeschooling to heart? Their kids are still going to school.
I actually have really, really loved the time that we've had our school at home, which Deb was very careful to make sure we understood there was a difference between homeschool and
big difference.
School at home.
Yeah.
I've loved the school at home time, but it has also come with challenges. And so while I really enjoyed that period, I am glad that the kids are back at school again now.
I guess if I was to ask one final question, how would you say that the process, for all of its ups and downs and the challenge and the mirror in front of you, in front of the whole country, that kind of thing, how would you say that it's strengthened your family? Because I can hear undertones and currents of that throughout our entire conversation. But if you were to really zero in on it, what's it done for your family? How's it strengthened it?
It's definitely brought about conversations that we wouldn't have had otherwise. We've had some experiences that are so different to normal experiences, and some opportunities for all five of us to look at how we respond to people, what our faces look like when you respond to someone, what the tone of voice is like.
Yeah.
And that's given us all opportunities to reflect and think about that more.
Yeah, I guess that sense of shared experience and adventure together. I think you can look back and remember. I remember that time when Luke grabbed a wooden spoon. Oh, wasn't that a cracker? Oh my goodness! So it's that sense of adventure and shared experience, and to be able to recollect in the future about that, but also to look back and to grow and to take some of the elements of different parenting styles and incorporate that into what we're doing. We've met people that we wouldn't have met otherwise, and we've learned in ways we wouldn't have learned otherwise, because of our involvement, and we're really thankful for that.
And we've come out at the end of this program with a great new bunch of friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful conversation, wonderful couple, Andrew and Miriam from Parental Guidance. Thanks so much for joining us on the Happy Families podcast.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Good to be here.
The Happy Families podcast is produced by Justin Rulon from Bridge Media. Craig Bruce is our executive producer. Black Friday sale this coming Friday. We are going to have so many amazing things that I know you're going to want to know about. Please stay close to our Facebook page, Dr. Justin Coulson's Happy Families, for all the Black Friday info. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter as well. That's where you'll find out all of the super secret specials. Or if you just want to make your family happier more generally, visit happyfamilies.com.au.